Namaste, good morning, and today there's another way of greeting you. Kuknalim. So, where are we taking you to India? Which part of India? Any guess? We are taking you to Nagaland. It's one of the easternmost jewels of India. I wouldn't even call it a state of India, it's a jewel of India. It is hidden, tucked away in the green and the mountainous part of our beautiful country. And it just adds to the greenery over there. The flora and the fauna is just amazing. 20% of Nagaland is wooded and is in forest. There are rivers around in that area. And there's so much of wildlife. There are orchids. There are almost 400 kinds of orchids. And there are n number of birds. But you can also see this place by walking it. You could take your bicycles there. You could take your motorbikes there. So today we are going to take you in a very, very different way starting today. And before I even say anything else, why don't we actually run a movie so that you know where are we going? Team NEGD, can we have the movie first? Isn't that so beautiful? So viewers, where are we today? I told you we are in Nagaland, and Nagaland is nestled with Arunachal to its north, Assam to the west, and Manipur to the south. It's a mountainous state, as I already mentioned to you, but it's also a state which has rivers and so much of beauty around it. And it's most famous now, of course, for the Hornbill Festival. The Hornbill Festival, I'm sure we're going to talk a lot more about it. It started in 2000 and Nagaland has actually become synonymous almost with the Hornbill Festival. It's also a land of festivals because it has so many festivals, and a lot of these festivals are around agriculture and harvest. And I'm sure we're going to figure out a lot more about that too as we go along. So taking us to Nagaland today are three presenters. The first of them is going to be Kejaroho Pieru, Keja, as he's lovingly called. Keja is a tour operator by profession, but more than profession, I think he's a tour operator by passion. And that's how he looks at it. And we want all of you to travel to Nagaland, therefore, with passion. After him is going to be Vincent Bello. He is an avid motorcycle adventurist and is also a freelance video journalist. And I'm sure we are going to love going through the lanes and bylanes of Nagaland as the verdant greens go along with us. And then we have David Solo, and he's an expert in curating travel experiences and is also currently the president of the Nagaland Tourism Association. So if any of you is planning to visit Nagaland, and if you had not thought of going to Nagaland till today, I'm sure you all shall want to go very soon. You know who to get in touch with. In between all these three presenters, today we're going to also get something really special from the perspective of the Dekho Apna Desh webinar series. I'm not going to tell you who that is. I shall tell you later. I'm now going to ask Keja to start the travels to Nagaland. Welcome, Keja.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Good morning to everyone. And first of all, on behalf of the three of us from Nagaland, I would like to thank the organizers, the Ministry of Tourism, for organizing this webinar to showcase Nagaland under the program, the Co-op Nadesh. And this is a very rare privilege, and we are really happy that we will be getting this opportunity to tell you more about Nagaland. And I could see that we have more than 178 participants today. And in spite of not having much time, and also I'm in a bit of rush today, so I apologize. And to start with my presentation, our co-host Rupinder ma'am has already shared some information about Nagaland already. So to go ahead, I would straight away go to my presentation. Uh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I will be talking more about cultures, and since we don't have much time, I will not be able to go details, but to go in details. But from the tourism perspective, what Nagaland can offer and what kind of cultures that we have for our domestic tourists and also for the world, I would like to share some of what Nagaland has and we have to offer. So I would just share some brief introduction about Nagaland. Nagaland is the 16th state of India, and it has an area of about 16,579 square kilometers. We have a little more than 2 million population, so about 21, 22 lakhs, and we have about 12 districts. And Nagaland has about 16 recognized tribes, and we also have many sub-tribes. And these tribes are settled in the present day Nagaland and in Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, and Myanmar. So we have a lot of tribes, but we also have a lot of sub-tribes. And these tribes are settled in the different states of Nagaland, Assam, Arunachal, Manipur, and Myanmar. And for instance, one particular tribe called the Kemnugan, only 20% of this tribe are in India, in Nagaland, whereas 80% of this tribe are in Myanmar today. So Nagaland as a whole is a big state, country, but it has been divided and we live in different boundaries today. And as I said, I'll be coming to focus more on culture, but I just want to tell something more about Nagaland, why we are considered unique, and why people love to visit Nagaland. Nagaland is called a land of festivals, which my colleague David will be talking more details. And Nagaland is also called the Amur Falcon capital of the world. And we also have the tallest rhododendron tree in the world. Nagaland also produce the tastiest pineapples, and we also produce the best honey, organic honey. So these are some few things that Nagaland has. And now coming to the cultures, there are a lot of cultures. Nagaland has 16 recognized tribes, and all these 16 tribes have their own distinct, culture. They have their own cuisines, foods. They have their own music, dialects, and it is very rare to find two village speaking the same dialect. So even if the villagers can understand each other from their own dialects, their dialects still have different variations, tones like that. So it is very difficult, very rare to find two villages speaking the same dialect. So it is very diverse. And one of the most popular and one of the dying cultures, in fact, it is not practiced anymore, is the headhunting culture. So all the different tribes of Nagaland were once headhunters. So in those days of warfare, when we go to fight with the enemies, procuring the enemy's head is a very important thing, because there are different theories, but the Nagas believe that for a human being, the head is the most important thing. So if you procure somebody's head, then there's a belief once upon a time that you will become prosperous, you will become a wealthy like that. But with the coming of Christianity, this culture is not practiced anymore. And the picture shown here is Konyak warrior. And one unique and one interesting thing about the Konyak Nagas is that you would still find people with tattoos on their faces, which you can see now. And these tattoos are not entitled to ordinary men, but these tattoos are entitled to people who are warriors, who have already procured heads, who have already hunted heads, enemies' heads. So today, one of the destinations that where we can find people with tattoos is the Konyak Naga areas in Mon district. And we call Nagaland an upcoming destination, but we also call this place Mon, the land of the Angs, as a dying destination, because all these tattooed people, they are in their 70s, 80s, 90s. So within 10, 15 years time, all these people are going away. And one sad thing is the younger generations are not practicing this anymore. We would like to encourage people from the rest of India. If you have a plan to visit Nagaland, this is the best time to visit Nagaland. You should come and witness these cultures. They are still alive, and you can meet them, you can talk to them, interact with them, learn more about Naga cultures. So this is one culture which is considered very important, and although it is not practiced anymore, it has been given up by the Naga tribes in the 1950s, 60s. So, but still there are people who will be able to tell you the stories, where you will find people with brass metal heads on their chests. The number of heads represents the number of enemies' heads they have procured during their lifetime as a warrior. Yeah, so I would like to show you some of the pictures here, the tattoos, then you can see on their faces, and you would see on their bodies as well. They also have tattoos on their bodies. And on the right side, the second picture is the king of Hornbill Village with some of his fellow warriors. And then the third picture is a picture of me sitting behind the king and with some of my clients. And something very, I don't know what to say, but something the opposite, which we used to do. Nagas used to do hunting. Used to hunt wild animals. And hunting was considered a sport during our forefathers' time. But with the efforts of conserving our natural resources and flora, fauna, hunting has been banned in the whole of Nagaland now. As you can see here, the first picture is the picture of some animal skulls. You can see it's not very clear. It's an old picture. There are the heads of antelope, deers, monkeys, bears, and on the right side is it's about two pheasants, two birds hanging there. So hunting was considered a sport once upon a time. So we are trying very hard to give up all these cultures. So hunting, we have banned hunting now, but once upon a time, hunting was also considered a sport. And coming to cuisines, we used to tell our guests, visitors, that Nagas eat every four-legged things except the chair and table. We eat all kinds of insects, all kinds of worms, animals, and things, every living, moving things. So you can see the first picture is a picture of a snail, and then on the the third picture is a fish, and then you can see some king chilies. You can see some of our clients having food in the traditional style, like this. So Nagas, as I've said, we have a lot of tribes and sub-tribes, and all these tribes have their own unique cuisines. We use different spices, we cook in different methods. For example, my tribe, we are mostly into, we mostly boil our food. But for example, some people like the owls, they cook fishes in bamboo, so it produces very good flavors. So we have our own unique way of cooking food and preparing things to eat. And another very interesting thing which we hardly talk about is the traditional salt making. So I have taken these pictures in one of my visits to Peren district. You can see the first picture is the stream where they are fetching the salt water, and then they take it to the fireplace, and they keep boiling the water. And when the boiling finishes, the water dries up, they extract the salt. So during the olden times, when we don't have the market to buy salt, this is how our grandfathers, our forefathers make salt for our own use. So this is also a very unique thing which we are not talking much, but I think the people here, the government can do something to promote this kind of activities. And another very unique thing about the organic farming that we do here in Nagaland is the use of elder tree. This is particularly in Konoma. The tree Ulmus nepalensis, or coal elder, is a tree that has nitrogen fixation. So we do shifting cultivation with this tree. The first picture here is how it will be like when we were yet to cut down the trees. After we cut down the trees, you will see the second picture. You will see the trunk, the pollard elder trees. And we cut down these trees for timbers, number 3 and number 4, and also for firewood. But these trees will not die away. We cultivate one area for 2 years, and we abandon that area. We go to another area, and then the same thing, 2 years, 2 years. So when we come back, the trees are big enough to cultivate again, like the picture one, the first picture. So after 2 years, we abandon the area, and then we raise the small shrubs, the branches that you can see in picture 5, and we abandon the area. So after 6 to 8 years, when we come back, the trees are big enough to cultivate again. So we also call it the Friends of the Farmers. And our forefathers have been practicing this culture for many decades, many centuries. You can see the polar trees in the second picture. These are more than 100 years old. So we've been doing this for so many years, but we never realized. But recent researchers reveals that this method of doing shifting cultivation is one of the most sustainable way of doing Jum cultivation. So we do organic farming with this, because this alder tree always regenerates the soil. So we don't need manures or fertilizers to keep the soil fertile. And moving faster, I just want to share some few activities that we do, some activities associated with village tourism. You can see I'm showing a picture of Naga Gate here, and the Mithun head, which you can see in black color, represents wealth. During those days, wealth was not measured in terms of money, not in terms of gold or anything. But during our forefathers' time, wealth was measured in terms of the amount of rice, the amount of grains that you have, the amount of cattle that you have. So this Mithun head represents wealth, and then the warrior with his headgear in white color, black stripe, that represents warfare and security, like that. So the second picture is a picture of a machang in Longland, and then the third picture is a picture of some elders sitting together in an Angami village. And another thing which we used to do is we take our clients to the jungles. We do some activities with them, like collecting wild vegetables, for food. So we take it home, we let them cook if they want to participate, and we have it together. So this is one picture which we have done in one of our tours. And another one, the first picture on the left is one of the king, the king of Longwa in Mon district. The second one is another lady with a client. And Nagas also do, we do a lot of cane baskets, and Nagas are very skilled in basket making. The first picture on the left is kind of like old age home in Ungma village in the district of Mokokchung, where the community make a place where they bring all the 70, 80 people together, and they sit together, chat, they interact, and they make handicrafts out of it, and they sell it and make money. So this is one picture of that particular old age place. The second one is a basket maker. The third picture is a lady putting on a basket, traditional basket, cane basket. Yeah, and these are some of the activities that we do. Some people, when we take them to the interior villages, they like to contribute, they like to volunteer, helping the school kids, villagers like that. So these are some of the activities that we do. Yeah, so very brief, but these are some of the things that I would like to share with you. And as I said, I'm very sorry. I would like to apologize today that I'm in a bit of rush because I need to go for another engagement. I'll be traveling another half an hour to reach that place. So I leave the rest of the questions, activities to my colleague and senior David and Vincent. So thank you so much, Ministry of Tourism organizers, Rupinder ma'am, and all your team. And this is such an opportunity that you have given us. We would like to keep in touch with you in the future also to talk more about Nagaland. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Keja. I'm sure you've got a lot of people interested and already traveling to Nagaland. I am. So, viewers, I said in the beginning that we have a very different guest with us today, and I'm sure he will be very enlightening. Now, who is it, and who is this person? I would say also critical behind the running of the Dekho Madesh webinars. There has been so much content created, but all that content could not have been brought to all of you, barring the support of NEGD. And who is leading the NEGD and is also the CEO of MyGov and Digital Learning India is a 95 batch Indian Administrative Service Officer, Abhishek Singh. And Abhishek, welcome. I hope you're able to join us.
Thank you, Rupinder. It's great to see friends from Nagaland. Hi, David. Hi, Kiza. It's really, it's like when Rupinder told me that she's doing a show on Nagaland, I said, I want the link, I want to join in, why not? So it's fun to be back virtually.
Absolutely. It's so beautiful to go to Nagaland with all the friends from Nagaland. And viewers, Abhishek's cadre is Nagaland, but he was brought up in Ranchi. And therefore, my first question to you, Abhishek, is that how and when did you fall in love with Nagaland?
Nagaland is something which I regard as my home, though I've lived at multiple places, but Nagaland, especially Mokokchung, where I started my service after joining IAS, and I spent a year in probation, and later on I was a subdivisional officer there and district deputy commissioner also there. So I spent a good part of my life in Nagaland, Mokokchung, Kohima, and traveled all across. And I must say that if there is a place worth visiting, if there is a place worth living, fresh air, green environments, nice people, the kind of hospitality, the kind of food that you get, and the kind of cultural exposure that you get is unmatched. No other place in the world matches to what Nagaland is.
Before I ask more about Nagaland, viewers, I must share with you. Currently, Abhishek, as I said, the CEO of MyGov, and MyGov has been partnering not only with our ministry, but on our ministry, is doing we started with the Bangladesh.
I think Rupinder ji's connectivity was a bit of a problem, but I would say, in fact, till she joins back, I can say that the presentation which Keza made did such a brilliant exposure of what Nagaland is. And if people want to really see the remote areas, whether it's the Shiloh Lake or whether it's the Kifre apple picking, or whether you want to more exotic places like Kohima or Mokokchung or Fake, Futsero, any place you go, you get to eat organic food, you get to meet nice people, and something that's the experience is unparalleled. And if you're visiting during Hornbill, and if you have people like Keza and David taking care of you, taking you all around the fun places to be, the adventure that one can get to is unparalleled, unmatched.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. That was really wonderful. So maybe we'll just move to our next presenter, that is Vincent. And Vincent will talk about the biking tours that Nagaland has to offer. And it's a different side of Nagaland that he'll be presenting.
Thank you, Madam, for this time, and it's so, and with that traditional dress of the Nagas as well. Thank you so much. I will jump straight to my PowerPoint presentation. I have a lot of slides. In fact, let me tell you, I have about 63 slides, and I want to finish that before 14 minutes. That's how I'm going to do it. So let's try a different way of presentation. And I wish my memory will also help me this time. Let's see. David, if my notes are seen, then please give me a sign. Okay, I have shared my screen.
Okay, sorry guys. Vincent, can I take a minute again with Abhishek?
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Yes.
Abhishek, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
So I must tell the viewers that I think this is the first time, and this is a 60th webinar, in fact, which we are doing where an outage happened. But that's also a reminder to all of you that while we are bringing you these beautiful places virtually, but you actually need to travel. Technology has its limitations. So carrying our conversation forward, I was telling you about the human service that Abhishek is leading from the front in taking Dekho Apna Desh forward. And he's been a huge support with his team taking so many parts of India. So we must thank you, Abhishek, for supporting the Ministry of Tourism in this initiative that was actually flagged by the Honorable Prime Minister last year when he said, can we all just start traveling to the beautiful parts of India? Well, taking forward now Nagaland, what is it that you're wearing around your neck?
It's not a neck, it's just a waistcoat. It's like something that you do, and it's like a adaptation from the traditional Naga shawl. And if you are interested in the culture of Nagaland, you'd be happy. It's an amazing thing that every tribe has its own shawl patterns. And there also, like, especially I kind of say that I grew up in Mukokchung, and there the shawl that men wear, the shawl that warriors wear, the shawl that women wear are different. And the way you wear the shawl is also very well defined as per the customary practices. So if you are not aware, and if you wear with the elephants and with the tigers upside down, then it's a violation of the custom. So one has to be very understanding of what every symbol stands for. So like the mithun is the revered animal of Nagaland, which is like kind of there is a ICR center for mithun also in near Dimapur. And it's like the mithun meat is very cherished, and it's served on weddings and other important occasions. So mithun is one of the things. So mithun matha, the mithun matha as they call it, finds on most of the shawls and most of the traditional designs that we have. I see Vincent also wearing a jacket with the mithun matha. So that's the kind of culture and tradition. And all these, like the shawl pattern that you see, the red and the green, this would be like traditionally the Angami shawl pattern. So similarly, the Chakesangs, with the advertisement that you shared for the event today had the Chakesang patterns on it. The Aos have a different shawl pattern. The Changs will have different. Sangtams will have different. Pochuris will have different. The Konyaks will have a different pattern. So it all reflects the culture of it in the kind of attire people wear and the kind of costumes that they do. And now the new age fashion designers and the young entrepreneurs are like coming out with innovative designs of the same shawl patterns, and these waistcoat is just one of them. Yeah.
Wow. And I was in fact reading up viewers that there are more than 15 different languages, the dialects that actually get spoken, and there are many more, and there are equal number and perhaps more tribes. And so there's so much diversity, as Abhishek's already hinted, so much diversity in everything that is being done. Abhishek, if you were to reach out to all of us in this part of India, the north or the central or the south and the west, people have a lot of, lack of information, I should say, on how beautiful these parts are. What is it that strikes to you the most, and how would you talk to all of us? What should we be looking for when we come to Nagaland?
See, if you're looking for something which is different from a five-star holiday, like today, when you go for a holiday, whether you go to Bangkok or whether you go to Kuala Lumpur or whether you go to Goa or whether you go to Kerala, what you will see is you'll see nature, but very often what they sell is the five-star hotel comforts and the cuisine, which has become like quite a universal across the world. But when you go to Nagaland, you'll get a unique experience. The kind of adventure trails that they are there, the kind of treks that you can do, the kind of green places that you can see, the kind of rural ambience that you can see, the kind of music that you can hear, the kind of food that you can have, the kind of culture that you can see, or environmentalists, if they go to Amur Falcon, I think this is the time when you should be visiting Pangti Lake and see the conservation efforts of the people in Pangti in Wokha district of Nagaland. You will find that it's amazing. Or if you see the culture, the churches, you see the architectural splendor that is there. In fact, Asia's largest church is in Zoneboto district of Nagaland. So there is so much that to see and to enjoy and to soak in. Or if you're going in during Hornbill, then if you see the kind of cultural performances that are staged or the musical performances that are staged. In fact, if the rock music, if there is any rock music capital of India, then it is Nagaland. If you haven't seen the Rock Fest in Hornbill Festival, you haven't seen it at all. And if you have tried the rice beer, if you had the best of the pork that you get, so they're amazing. The snails and the food quality is like just out of the world. And you can enjoy anything without any inhibitions. People are friendly, they are welcoming. You can do homestays, you can stay in rural areas and experience a life that I don't think you get anywhere in India or anywhere in the world, I would say.
That's so passionately brought out, and I'm sure all of us are already getting motivated. I'm going to ask you a couple of more questions before we leave you to go back and to your work. But can you share with us one special drive that you went? I know you went for a lot of drives with your children. You mentioned about it. Something interesting that you would like to share with the viewers?
There are many, but one particular drive that I remember, which I had done long back on a Sunday morning when I had not much to do in Mokokchung, and my friend was pushing Shamator and he was sitting a bit lonely. And this is like a pre-mobile, pre-internet age when you can't do a video calling on the click of a button. Then I had driven my gypsy that time. It used to be called a soft top gypsy from Mokokchung to Shamator via Vansavang, and that was such an entertaining. I was driving alone, but it was so much of fun. Almost the whole day with sometimes bad roads, sometimes potholes, sometimes bridges, bamboo bridges and all. But the kind of things that you see and the kind of people you meet in the villages on the way, or the kind of food that you get to eat, hot steaming rice with the fish or with pork, is like amazing. So that's one memorable drive that I still remember from way back. This was when, 99, I believe? Yeah, 98, 99.
Abhishek, I also know that right now through MyGov, you run the e-Sampark initiative, which brings about 8 million Indians together. And that's a great initiative towards taking Ek Bharat Shresh Bharat dream of the Honorable Prime Minister together. And so talking of Nagaland, it just seems to fulfill that kind of a dream. But also a special message that I would request you to talk about is the women. There is a lot of apprehension in India and around India for women travelers. And we know that Nagaland's literacy rate is extremely high. They're more than 80% literate. How would you advise the women, and are they safe to travel in Nagaland?
Nagaland is the safest state for women travelers to travel. And Nagaland, with its egalitarian tribal society, in many ways regards women to be at a much higher level than men. And the society there, irrespective of where you are from, goes out of the way to help men and women. And women, so far in the years that I've spent in Nagaland or the Hornbill Festival that I've been to, or even remote areas, where women traveling from as far as Kanyakumari or anywhere else, they have not, to my knowledge, faced any major issue. And in case something happens, the Nagaland police has come up with something called tourist police. And the tourist police of Nagaland is so proactive in helping out people that they have earned laurels from everyone. Nagaland police also has one of the few state police battalions in the country which has something what they call it a Mahila battalion. So there is a whole battalion full of women cops, And they not only are very proactive in helping people in distress, but they also have a beautiful music band. And if you have heard them perform, you would know that what cops can do. So maybe one of the festivals then when things are normal post-pandemic, we must get the band and perform and show what Nagaland police does and how they strive very hard to keep Nagaland safe for tourists and women.
And my Tweety bird tells me that you're joining that band and actually playing some music. So one last final message for the viewers who would like to travel to Nagaland. What would you like to say very briefly?
I would say that explore Nagaland. It's one of the richest cultural traditional places that we have in our country, and soak yourself in. Don't go to Nagaland if you're looking for a 5-star holiday. Go to Nagaland if you want to be with the nature, enjoy the adventure, enjoy life with people, enjoy the cuisine, enjoy the music, and enjoy the festivities that are there. And Nagaland is actually called the land of festivals. Every month, one of the tribes or the other has a festival. So whether it's Moatsu, or whether it's Sungremon, or whether it's Sekrimi, or whether it's Toku Emong, like whichever festival you are going in, time your visit. Don't think that only Hornbill happens in Nagaland. Nagaland is alive round the year. So pick up a festive time, pick up the right district which is celebrating that festival, get in touch with Nagaland Tourism, get in touch with people like David, with Alder Tours and all, who can customize a holiday for you, which you would not forget in your lifetimes.
Sounds so good. Sounds so good. And I'm going to thank you, Abhishek, at this point once again for today's, your inputs and also supporting the Dekho Apna Desh webinar series. I'm sure we are going to take it many, many miles forward together. And thanks to you and your team, it's a great opportunity to therefore, to thank you for your support to us. And I'm sure we shall keep the dream of Dekho Apna Desh going strongly forward.
Thank you, Rupenderji. And in fact, I must compliment you for doing the Dekho Apna Desh series, which shows what technology can do. Like when people can't travel, the technology can help take the places to the people. So rather than people going to places, places are wasting people. So that way one gets an exposure of what is it that one is missing. Enjoy the virtual tours till the time comes when you are able to actually lucky enough to enjoy, to soak yourself in the beautiful background which Vincent has posted, and the motorcycle tourism which is going to talk about. So I congratulate you.
And you please remain joined in and have a look at what is being showcased. But in the meantime, I just learned another way of greeting you, Kuknalim.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Abhishek. All right, Vincent, I think we can go back to biking.
Okay. Well, thank you, Abhishek Singh. You truly become the ambassador of Nagaland tourism. I always envy Sri Pema Khandu of Arunachal, that he truly represents the tourism industry in Arunachal. Today, you have spoken so beautifully with your vast experience. And this is why I am always envious of IAS officers. But you have truly spoken. And with Sir Abhishek Singh's delivery of information about Nagaland, with that in the background, let's jump into our motorcycles or any mode of your transport, SUV, MTB, anything, and let's explore Nagaland for a few minutes again. Thank you. I will start now. Well, as my first slide shows, this is the slide where I'm supposed to greet all the audience good morning. And I was so happy to see that we have more than 600 people tuned in, or rather joined in, logged into this edition of Dekho Apna Desh 60th edition, 60 edition. And we are so fortunate to be present in this. So let's begin. Good morning once again, and from people from across the geographic locations. All motorcycle adventurers traveling to Nagaland will be surprised to find the most exotic trails and experiences with the ever amiable tribal smiles, and I wouldn't be wrong to say the least exposed to tourism industry community, hill after hills. One can travel from any entry point to Nagaland and be able to move on up to the borders of Myanmar and experience the untouched regions of Nagaland. Nagaland, as we have seen, is truly blessed with rich culture, heritage, and tribal lives. It is feared that the government called Nagaland as the land of festivals. All tribes celebrate their festivals with much solemnity and feasting, singing, and dancing, which is very important. Innocent children in rural areas happily flock you for a selfie, and it's exciting to see our children like this. No more in the cities. Look at us, isn't this proof that we are excited, all smiles and wonders as well? Well, children, as you see, this is a group of little children in the far remote border village of Nagaland. And this is a typical Naga village that you will see. I was so happy to find this picture. I am not going to touch much on the Mon district because my friends have touched much on that. But this picture is a 1981 photo taken by my father with his official colleagues. And I'm so happy to find this one. This was in Chui village in Mon district. Well, the roads and trails we choose to travel are all the more exciting and adrenaline pumping because it is truly the journey and not the destination alone. The roads, definitely shifting cultivation has been our tradition from forefathers' time, but isn't it time for us to change as well and adopt newer methods of cultivation to continue a tiny bit for sustainable ecosystem and mitigate in the global warming? It is education, awareness, and sensitization that will enable and empower us as we slowly move towards tourism industry and embrace this rich industry. And as one rides on, and for those who enjoy the safety of SUVs, like I said earlier, may choose to do so, the rugged roads leads us all to beautiful yet remote places across rural Nagaland. And here is a small village on the extreme borders of Nagaland, bordering Myanmar. Small, and civilization is yet to reach these people. No roads, no mobile connectivity, and rice being the staple food of the Nagas is a very pricey commodity. I went trekking and was simply blessed. On the record, I'm sure the roads must have reached. This was taken 6-7 years ago. And this is the village that you will find. On the hill lines or the tree lines that you see are all Saramati ranges. And our people in the village, this village is called Vansavang Village on the extreme corner of Kifiri district. And this is how we live in the villages in rural areas. And you can see the tree lines of the Saramati range. And here is one last village again on the borders of Myanmar. I take pride in having my bike photographed here. Well, if you want to hear a cacophony of birds singing, then it is here over a night camping. As you see, beyond these tree lines, not far is the imaginary international boundary line. We are blessed with such beautiful landscapes. Walking this trail, this very trail will take you to Fakim Wildlife Sanctuary, apart from other birds and wildlife habitat in Fakim. The famous Bhutan glory is found in this part of the region as well. And another proud moment for the bikes at the Fakim village, the entry to Fakim Village Sanctuary, a paradise for birding, butterfly enthusiasts, and bird wildlife photography. Personally, I like the rural settings, sharing a night with the people over black tea, and occasional sweet, sometimes extremely sweet. I say pure sugar drinks. And either you came outside in the open air, or this forest department, the next building you can use for accommodation. Far is the zoom photograph of Saramati Peak from Kifiri district, the district headquarters. And blooms. Any bloom is a beauty and delight to enjoy. This is the bloom of the famous Tanamir apple, which has through the years earned itself a full-fledged apple festival in Nagaland. And of course, these are natural sights in the village and most exhilarating, particularly if your weary bones allow you to wake up early and watch the feeding of the mithuns with salt, an experience in itself again. Oh, Tanamir guest house run by the church, the most comfortable, clean, cozy indeed for weary travelers. Oh, they got solar water heater as well. And so for a biker, that's treasure. Summit, Mount Saramati. Health and fitness is key for a photo opportunity like this. Mount Saramati at an elevation of 3,826 meters. Put it in feet, 12,552 feet. And look carefully, you will note the international boundary pillar post number 138. Yes, that's it. Well, for those who are wary of vertical, may choose a village like this, drive on and go to a famous Mimi limestone caves. Imagine the scale with an average Nagaman's height sitting. Yes, the small waterfall is no ordinary. It is called Vavate Waterfall in Kifiri district, under Mimi village jurisdiction. Perfect to take a dip and relax with no rush, because this is not a touristy place. Only adventurous travelers will come here. It's a paradise indeed. And I was amazed at the entry point of the Mimi limestone cave. Oh, I could freeze a bat in the frame. Yeah, the story of community bat hunting is another aspect one would like to discover too. Well, after a hard day's trail and discovery into the belly of the earth, come back to an evening of folk tales and legends of the tribal in this unexplored forest. Or camping by the riverside is one of the most fun-filled and exciting part of any travel, be it on a motorcycle, MTB, or any SUV mode. Pristine rivers like Diku and Tiza are my favorite, and the serene sound of the water, birds singing and fresh waters on a nice bamboo raft, and those willing who can try fishing in the freshwater as well. These are the roads that will lead you to the legendary lake. Yes, guessed it right, Shiloi Lake. This is located in Latsam village of Pongkuri area under the Meluri subdivision in Phek district. There are many legends associated to it, and all you need to do is pack your bags and come and enjoy a peaceful stay here or listen to the legends and stories that the locals would happily tell us. So go for a boat ride, well, onto the mountains. And these are, just a little example of how you will get accommodated. Well, let's go to Tsuku Valley. We all know of Tsuku Valley, and so I will just take you through with a slide. Misty morning face of Tsuku Valley here, and people of same feathers like me always enjoy something like this. No rush, truly. Selfie time, camping site. This was a picture taken in October last year of the Hornbill Fest that was organized by India Trade. And if you have only little days, and want to do moderate hiking, then Jaffa Peak is perfect, standing at an altitude of 3,048 meters ASL. It is this Jaffa range that one can get a feel and view of the tallest rhododendron tree at 109 feet, which holds the Guinness World Record. Another angle of Jaffa Peak. This is a bird's eye view of Kohima city. Want to do this? Drive to Pulepadze base camp, and in about 15 minutes, hiking, you will be able to stand atop and view this beautiful sight. Perhaps better than my picture on a clearer day, and if lucky, even the Himalayan ranges. And well, like in every Naga tradition or Nagaland that we see of across is always atop a hill. Well, there are some who just can't be satiated by the normal. If you're one of those, then ride on. Yes, ride on to Zuneboto and check out the largest and majestic Sumi Baptist Church. The Sumi Baptist Church is said to be the largest Baptist church in Asia, founded in the year 1942. This monumental building was completed on 31st March 2017. Well, that's only the excuse. The main idea is to enjoy the unique culinary of Sumi, the warrior tribe of Nagaland. I just can't get enough of Sumis. Well, when you see these in Nagaland, think of Doyan. And when you think of Doyan, automatically the Amur Falcon comes to mind, justifiably named the Amur Falcon, capital of the world. One can enjoy a little boating and a rafting, exploring the jungles and the islands. Who knows, one may find a treasure or retire in a camp and natural. These are some beautiful shots taken by my friend Shantungo. And yes, these are Amur Falcons. If that was not enough, then how is this Amur Falcon? The latest information that I got is that from the Forest Department, Amur Falcon is in Waka again, in its roosting place, and spend the night here over a camping. This is another picture of the Amur Falcon, the India Trail camp that I have spent my time. Or if you are in Waka and in, looking for the Amur Falcon, you can also try your luck. This is a Naga traditional, Lotha Naga traditional way of making jaggery. My favorite jaggery. Too much sugar is not good, but this is my favorite. Sunset in the hills and mountains are unique experiences. One must not miss it while in Nagaland too. I always loved it, and more so in the open camps. Over a song with local brew and some local snacks. Yes, built on memories now that you can cherish tomorrow into the sunsets of your life with a smile. As much as I enjoy presenting, I hope you like it too. If you ever decide to explore Nagaland, then we are available. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Well, these are some last visuals on a motorcycle tour, but we don't show you this. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Vincent. That was indeed a lovely journey. And I think now we can move to David. David, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Yes, I am. And thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's still before 12. Let me just jump into my presentation fast as we are running short of time. Right. Vincent, can you see it?
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So my topic today is very simple. It's on festivals of Nagaland. And I think our previous panelists have all spoken quite exclusively on the festivals and the rest and the adventure and all that of Nagaland. So let me just jump into it. But before I do so, I'll just touch on the cultural diversity of Nagaland. Right, so as spoken earlier, there are 17 recognized tribes and many, many sub-tribes living in Nagaland. And we are all very unique from each other. We all have a unique language, our traditions are different, our food habits are different, the social structure of each tribe is different, even the architecture of the tribes are of the houses and the villages are different for each tribe. But there is one thing that binds all Nagas together, and that is our love for festivals. We Nagas are extremely, extremely fond of our festivals and festivities, and every major tribe has at least one, some have two, a few have 3-4 festivals in a year, cultural festivals in a year, and that is a common bond that all Naga tribes share with each other. So as I'm speaking of festivals, I will start with the biggest festival of them all, the Hornbill Festival. Now, everyone knows the Hornbill Festival. It is a fairly well-known festival now. It's held every year at Kisama Heritage Village from the 1st of December to the 10th of December. And the idea is to bring all the tribes of Nagaland together at one location and showcase the diverse culture of Nagaland. And it has become over the years an extremely popular destination for people who like culture to come and visit. And it has grown to become the biggest cultural festival of the Northeast. Now, keeping that in mind, the government of Nagaland has decided to adopt local tribal festivals across Nagaland, all districts, to popularize and to make these small tribal festivals and make it enable these festivals to become popular. So we have 20 over 20 local tribal festivals, out of which 16 have been selected, and they are termed as mini Hornbill festivals, which, as the name implies, is a very small scale Hornbill type festival. It normally lasts for 2-3 days, and normally there is one particular tribe who is celebrating that festival will be there, and there will be one or two other tribes who will be participating in these festivals. And the third type of festivals that we have are seasonal festivals. Now, as Vincent had said earlier, we have the Apple Festival in September in Kifiri, in Panamere Village in Kifiri. In November, we have the Cherry Blossom Festivals. The cherries bloom in November, so places like Pek and Tatsuro, Pesachadu, all these places will have the Cherry Blossom Festival. Then in April and in August, we have the Tsuku Valley experience. April, May, June is when the valley is blooming. And so we have an eco festival there where we set up camps and minimize our footprints as much as possible. And we enable people to go up to the valley without the burden of carrying their own equipment and all that, and they can just walk up the valley, stay in one of the camps, and enjoy the beauty of the valley. And then we have the Amur Falcon activities. Now, these are not technically festivals, but these are very festive in nature. Similarly, we have campsites set up there on the banks of Doyang Lake, and nature enthusiasts, nature photographers, people like them can come and enjoy the Amur Falcon activities. You know, it's quite amazing. You have millions and millions of falcons just collecting in an area of about 9 square kilometers, and especially during morning and evenings when they come back to roost or when they're flying out to find food. It is just amazing. Yeah, you can't see the sky. It's just filled with birds. So these festivals are seasonally held annually, but they're on season basis. Now, apart from that, we have the music festivals. Now, Nagas are blessed with music. We have music in our blood. You know, you give a Naga a guitar and he'll belt out some classic rock music. So music has always been very close to us. So accordingly, it's no surprise that we have a lot of music festivals. The Hornbill Festival also has a music section to it. It is held in Dimapur every year from 1 to 7 of December. And we have bands from across the country coming and participating in these music festivals. Apart from that, we have statewide beat contests where local talents compete with each other in all districts and finally culminate in Kohima for a grand music festival. And we have other festivals like, you know, the cosplay festivals and the literary festivals, you know, things like these that are held annually across the months. And lastly, I wouldn't characterize this as a festival, but it is what Nagaland is all about. These are village programs and community activities, right? So Nagaland is a very village-centric society. And when there are programs like this, they tend to be very, very festive in nature. So although it is not characterized as a festival, it is very festive in nature. And, you know, it is a fantastic place to visit whenever they're having one of these occasions. Now, things like community harvest meetings and village gate pulling or village stone pulling ceremonies, feasts of merit, all these are community-based programs, and all these are extremely enjoyable to visit. So as I was saying, with so many festivals all across the calendar year, Nagaland is indeed coined as the land of festivals. We Nagas seem to have mastered the art of having a festival at the top of a hat. But on the more serious note, it's because of these festivals that the Nagas have been able to keep their culture intact. In this modern times when, a lot of indigenous communities are dying away and falling into obscurity, Nagas have actually managed to hold on to our culture. In fact, our culture is thriving over here, and that makes Nagaland a very special, unique place to visit if you're interested in culture. Now, a few points I want to make for those people who are interested in coming to Nagaland. As Sir Abhishek was saying, when you're planning to come to Nagaland, you plan your visit, right? You plan your visit to coincide with a festival. Nagas are very fond of very proud of our culture, but we don't go around dressed in our traditional clothes every day of the year. So if you want to see culture, you plan your visit accordingly and come when there is a festival. And for that, you can take the help of local tour operators. They will be more than happy to help you out, plan your logistics and to plan your trip. Secondly, stay in village homestays. Now, a lot of the festivals that I have mentioned will be taking place in districts. And now districts are not geared up for large-scale tourism. They have 1 or 2 hotels. So it is always better to stay in a homestay. That way you get to experience village life. The homestays are basic, but they will be clean, they will be safe, and food will not be an issue. So when you are planning a trip to the districts for a festival, do make it a point to stay in a homestay. Thirdly, experiment with cuisine. As again, my previous panelists have said, Nagas eat everything, and we are quite well known for our exotic dishes. So when in Nagaland, do sample a local dish or two. Do keep in mind to have a glass of water handy because our food is normally quite chilly, and it'll be an experience in itself. It'll be something that you can tell your friends back home of the wild ride that you had in Nagaland tasting their local dishes. For the vegetarian and for the more conservative traveler, don't worry, you will always be able to find dal, rice and sabji wherever you go in Nagaland. All you need to do is tell the homestay owner that you require rice, dal and sabji, and they will prepare the dish accordingly. And lastly, and most importantly, I think when you are traveling to Nagaland, befriend the local. Nagas are extremely friendly. They are very laid back, and they are extremely hospitable. So do make a friend in your journeys in Nagaland. A simple hi over a glass of rice beer, you never know, may start a lifelong friendship with a Naga. And it is better to attend festivals and better to attend programs and all that with locals who have knowledge about what festival you're attending, about the intricacies of the festival. And ultimately that will enrich the experience, the festival experience that you've come so far to attend. And I think that is all for now. I think my other panelists have spoken on the rest of the topics. I do thank you for your time. And if you are planning a visit to the Northeast, please feel free to contact us. And I thank you, Rupinder ma'am, again for giving us the opportunity. And I hope this is one of many, many small such sections on the Northeast, because the Northeast is it's a very interesting place to come to. So thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you, David. In fact, it's been such an amazing presentation, and I'm sure so many of us are motivated to travel. So I'm going to ask you one question. Of course, there are some others, we'll try and take them, is how does one get to Nagaland? What are the best ways to get there?
Ma'am, so there are two ways to get there. We have an airport at Dimapur, and so you can fly into Dimapur. We also have a train station at Dimapur, so you can take the train into Dimapur. Now, if Dimapur is not an option for you, there is also Imphal, where they have an airport where there are 8-9 flights that come in every day. So you take a flight into Imphal and then take a road down into Dimapur, into Kohima.
From Imphal to Kohima, how long is the drive?
It is 160 odd kilometers, so about 4 hours at a leisurely pace.
Well, that is something I think that goes without saying, viewers. When you're going to that part of the world, you are supposed to go back to connect with the nature and with yourself. Do not look for 5-star hotels. And I think post-COVID, that's a huge takeaway for all of us, to learn how to be responsible humans, responsible travelers, respect nature so that it learns to respect you back. I think we've been so violating a lot of things that Mother Earth has been giving us. In terms of the festivals that you mentioned, any of you can take that question, is there a place people can make a list and see which festivals are specialized for what? Some may be more for music, some may be more for food. So is there some listing available?
Ma'am, I think the state Department of Tourism website has a list of festivals that are currently adopted by the government. If you go through it, you will find the dates, you will find the district, and you will find where the festival is being held. As far as the speciality of the festival has gone, I think there is no list as yet that has come out. But again, we can always bring out some lists like that so that people are more aware of what.
I can see Abhishek wanted to come.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something and if you really want to follow what's going on in tourism in Nagaland, Nagaland Tourism has a beautiful Instagram page, Nagaland Tourism, and they put all updates about festivals and about oncoming events and whatever is happening, plus beautiful photographs, page of Nagaland Tourism. So do follow Instagram page of Nagaland Tourism and get connected to know more about the state and the wonders that lie therein.
It's pretty much a 24/7, 365-day kind of a destination, right? So if from now on till December, one is the Hornbill. So are we planning to do the Hornbill? Keeping an eye on its local conditions. And we are sure that Nagaland soon also will be welcoming travelers from not only all over India, but also from all over the world again. And because we all, I think finally at the end of the day, they say man is a social animal, right? So we want to connect in flesh and blood with everyone, and actually going and tasting the chili. Yes, of course. How can we go to Nagaland and not eat the chili and then maybe cry a little bit? Well, so for both of you, before we call it a day, what is it that you would like to say? Vincent, would you like to go a very brief one-liner to everybody watching the show today? And then
Thank you. First of all, please don't expect 5-star facilities. But if you're looking for pure adventure experience, then Nagaland is the right place for you. It has got everything: adventure, culture, festival. It has got everything, but no 5-star facilities for the time being. For the time being, that's all.
David?
Oh, so I would just like to say that when you plan your next holiday destination, keep Nagaland in mind. Give us the opportunity to host you, and I'm sure you will really benefit and enjoy that experience of your travel to Nagaland. I think that is all I have to say.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, all three of you, David, Vincent, and Keja,
You're
and
welcome.
of course Abhishek, for joining us today in showcasing such an amazingly beautiful gem of India, which happens to be in the eastern part of India. And I'm sure we shall all be traveling soon, viewers. Next Saturday, which is the 24th, we continue with our journey and travel through our incredible country. And we're going to take you very westward and show you something very different. We're going to take you to the hot state of Rajasthan. So from Koknalim, we're going to move to Kamagani, and we're going to take you to Bundi. Bundi is a tiny little place tucked in Rajasthan. It is not as popular sometimes or not as known as Jodhpur, Jaipur, Jaisalmer. We all seem to have heard about these places. So we wanted to bring to you a place which is not so well known by all of us for its splendor. So we're going to travel to Bundi, 24th, 11 a.m. Do stay tuned in to the webinar series. Keep supporting us. Keep showcasing the beautiful India. We're going to show you a short movie before you leave. And I'm going to thank all of you and close after seeing the movie. So namaste, thank you, and a very happy weekend for all of you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and watch the movie with us.
Incredible India.
So, namaste, thank you.